Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. A quick thank you for your patience last week. As a periodic reminder, I do post updates on my post tab if you're ever wondering. Bloomberg is reporting that with a new bill from the House, Republicans are proposing eliminating the EV tax credit. First of all, when it comes to the producer tax credits, more on the manufacturing side, those would not be phased out until the end of 2031. So that 45X that Tesla benefits from, $35 per kilowatt hour for the cells and $10 per kilowatt hour for the assembly into modules. And one of the more popular investment tax credits was the 30% that would cover the cost of solar equipment. Then on the consumer side, for the $7,500 EV tax credit, in this proposal, which still has to pass the House and the Senate and be signed into law, would fully eliminate the $7,500 credit by the end of 2026. And only manufacturers that have sold fewer than 200,000 EVs by the end of 2025 would be eligible to receive it in 2026. Translation, for a company like Tesla that's well over the 200,000 number, their access to this credit would end at the end of this year. I just have to say before anybody panics, this bill will likely be changed in the Senate somehow, so everybody's going to have to hold tight. Also, at the end of this year, tax credits for EV chargers, home energy efficiency updates, and home renewable like rooftop solar are also axed. So for now, I don't think we need to get into the weeds because again, this is likely to change, but if it were all to be passed as is, the EV tax credit goes away for Tesla at the end of this year. Any manufacturer that sold less than 200,000 vehicles with the tax credit can still enjoy it until the end of 2026 or until they hit that limit. The production tax credits for making battery cells in the US could be around until 2031, but there is a phase out before then. So maybe some of these battery factories in flux go through if the financials still make sense. On the investment tax credit side, the phase out starts in 2029, but just know it goes to 0% after 2031. This proposal, though, does not explicitly target the residential clean energy credit for homeowners, which covers solar installations and is separate from the commercial investment tax credit. I'm saying that because I think some of these outlets covering this are misinterpreting the bill. Just know for now, you can confidently rely on that 30% tax credit for solar systems installed this year, provided you meet the requirements and always check with your tax professional, etc. Replying to this news, Elon said all subsidies should end, including those for oil and gas. Anything else is pure hypocrisy, and fate does not smile upon hypocrites. If this bill were to be passed, there would certainly be a demand pull forward into 2025 as consumers rush to get this credit while it's available. But then, of course, demand would likely taper off into 2026. However, in Tesla's case, with unsupervised and cybercab, that might not be the worst setup ever. As we walk through the end of this in-between growth wave, if Tesla were to want higher demand, I'm guessing they'd want it in 2025 because by 2026, it really should pick up on its own with more affordable models, the Cybercab, the Semi, and all of the hype around unsupervised. Not to frustrate anyone further, but the IMF did say in 2022, fossil fuel subsidies topped $7 trillion. Now yes, a large portion of that number is implicit subsidies, which basically are benefits not explicitly paid out, but it's just things that happen because of the policies. One example would be energy prices that are artificially lower because of government price controls. But even if you just look at explicit subsidies, which are actual direct financial payments, that number was still over 1.5 trillion. I would point out a bit more recent, the IEA calculated fossil fuel consumption subsidies at 620 billion for 2023. Either way though, can someone explain to me why we should cut subsidies for a new, clean, renewable, recyclable technology to zero, but keep paying trillions in subsidies for the source that's killing people by polluting the air? Personally, I cannot figure it out. We've said it for years, if you cut them for EVs and clean energy, just cut them across the board. And from there, let the market economics and the technology decide the outcome. So we knew this was coming, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating. One more time though, certainly not a done deal. Things could always change. Hopefully Elon speaks up, not just on X, but to the players directly involved, and we'll see how this plays out in the weeks ahead. I would say though, personally, if I was looking to buy a Tesla and knew that I qualified for the credit, I would definitely be making plans to do so this year. The markets jumped today largely because of news that the US and China basically had an encouraging trade talk. As of May 14th, 2 days from now, both sides are going to pause certain tariffs for a period of 90 days. So to be clear, this is a reprieve, not a long-term solution. US tariffs on most Chinese imports will be cut to 30% from the current 145%, while China's tariffs will drop to 10% from the current 125%. Trump did say today he plans to speak with Xi sometime soon, maybe at the end of this week. A few things to keep in mind: this temporary relief is separate from Biden's tariff on Chinese EVs. That alone still sits at 100%, and as far as we know, that's not been changed. Which means any concerns about Chinese EVs all of a sudden flooding the United States is still off the table. It's possible this 90-day tariff reduction does actually lower the costs for certain imports like lithium batteries, motors, and magnets, but as far as I can tell right now, we don't have that level of granular detail. As it stood before this agreement, the tariff for Chinese lithium batteries faced a 7.5% tariff for Section 301, which was set to rise to 25% by January 2026, and another 3.4% global tariff. Then there were some additional duties and other things that would push the total to about 82% by 2026. So again, exactly how this 90-day truce is going to impact those specific rates, we just don't have that information. So for now, I would say overall, this is clearly a very positive sign directionally. Each side may be closer to a deal than many were thinking. Both the US and China want trade with each other, so my guess is in the next 90 days, a long-term agreement is reached and the game of chicken is over and everybody can move on. And at that time, we'll have the official rates for different categories, and we can then analyze the impact on Tesla and the EV market. But for now, I just feel like trying to do analysis with incomplete information that's changing with each passing hour is a fool's errand.
For tech, this is a dream scenario. And in my opinion, it puts new tech highs now back on the table for 2025.
This turned out to be quite popular for you guys last time, so here it is one more time. I highly recommend creating alternative IDs for any new websites you share your information with. Yes, you can easily have a different name, number, email, and address instead of giving out your real identity. Given the increasing rate of website breaches and bad actors, I think this is a great tool to use. And doing this is made easy thanks to Surfshark, the sponsor of this video. Surfshark makes getting this alternative ID as simple as clicking a button, and even Mr. Beast has been recommending Surfshark. As a VPN, Surfshark also encrypts your online activity so no one, not even your internet service provider, can track your online activity. One account covers all of your devices for your entire family and will protect you whether you're at home or on the go. Surfshark can help you find better deals on flights and hotels. Its clean web feature blocks annoying ads, and honestly their feature list goes on and on. So from a value perspective, it's basically as impressive of an offering as the new Model Y. You can go to surfshark.com/electrified or use code electrified at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. NHTSA has sent Tesla a list of questions about its upcoming robotaxi service and specifically how the software operates in low visibility conditions. The organization wants to understand how Tesla plans to evaluate its vehicles and driving automation tech for its use in public roads. To explain the state of play right now, NHTSA sent Tesla a series of questions aimed at determining whether the automated driving system in its planned robotaxis is the same or similar to supervised FSD. The agency asked for specifics on fleet size and which vehicle models will be used in the robotaxi service, how Tesla plans to determine whether its robotaxi system is safe, and if the automated driving system has any relationship to FSD supervised. So the fact that NHTSA thinks it's possible for Tesla to have an entirely different product than supervised FSD for the June rollout, to me, is just laughable unless you're really playing the semantics game at the extremes. But the main items in question: how Tesla's system will handle sun glare, fog, dust, rain, or snow. On FSD, at first, I wasn't sure if this was real or not, but Chris from Dirty Tesla posted FSD 13.2.9 is currently downloading on his Cybertruck and AI4 Model Y. As far as I can tell, the release notes are the same compared to 13.2.8. So it might be one of those you just have to go by feel to see what's actually different. And Chris did say twice it's real and it's not fake. In case you haven't been counting, it's almost been 3 months since the last FSD update, so this is a very welcome sight. Most of us will likely be waiting at least another week or two, but hey, at least it looks like something is going on. That's not just specific development for the Austin launch. On FSD, the Cybertruck guy shared this video, and it looks like a feature that I've actually wanted in the past to try to avoid potholes. He showed in the video he can apply slight pressure to the squircle to actually get FSD to shift positioning in the lane without disengaging FSD. So again, if you wanted to stay engaged but avoid a pothole or something else, this might be a way to do that. But I've never been able to do it in my Model 3 or Model Y, so maybe it is only the Cybertruck, given the differences with steer-by-wire. What's Elon been beating the drum about? Well, you already know it's the Cybercab. He's been sharing and talking about it much more on X. He shared this walk around of the Cybercab with nothing new. It really just pointed out that there are no crevices with the seating in the Cybercab, which we know will help for cleaning. Elon reposted this one from Galley, Waymo doing 250 million in revenue with about 1,500 cars in the fleet, so Tesla only needs a few thousand robotaxis in operation to be doing billions in revenue. Elon confirmed what we already know: Tesla is waiting for EU approval. Sigh. Joe Gebbia shared how his 88-year-old grandma was trying FSD for the first time as she's considering buying a Tesla, to which Elon said FSD will be a life-changing product for many people. Elon was talking about Optimus, and he said people have no idea this is going to be bigger than the car. And he replied to that saying maybe 10 times bigger. Mike P had a funny post saying, "I'll pay anyone at Tesla AI $20 to give me a hint about what's going on internally with FSD," and the Tesla AI account responded with the chef emoji, which means they're cooking, which means they have great things going on. Sawyer said June is going to be a big month, to which Elon said game time, big time. Elon also reposted the video from Whole Mars of FSD supervised dropping off somebody at the LA International Airport, and then replying to Whole Mars laughing at Gary Black talk about how Tesla must still compete with Uber and Lyft, which will offer much cheaper driverless options themselves. Elon said, wow, he really doesn't get it. And most of you have been here following along. We've been making that argument now for years. Before we move on from FSD though, Lincoln shared an important update. His 13.2.8 failed to stop at a train crossing where the arm was down and the lights were blinking. He did say that happened in an AI4 car, so just be careful out there. And all I want to add for now, people love to say Tesla doesn't have any ride-hail users. Okay, well, they do have millions of people that already have the app downloaded and use it regularly for their cars. So as regulations go green, those people are likely to become adopters. And the fact that people don't understand why Uber's costs will always be higher than Tesla's baffles me. Uber has to buy cars from BYD or Waymo or whoever, paying a margin. Tesla just makes their own. Either Uber or the companies Uber buys from, those companies have to pay a margin to NVIDIA for the ADAS suite and hardware. Tesla makes its own. No one else has figured out scale with a Waymo or a different system. Tesla makes millions of cars per year. And in the future, Tesla can just deploy cars that it makes to the robotaxi network if customers aren't buying them. But I'm guessing that won't be a huge problem because once people realize they can have a personal unsupervised robotaxi, as we've said was coming for years, they'll want to buy one. So I'll stop here, but I'm just always confused why this basic stuff is not obvious for everyone. June and the rest of this year can't come soon enough. I think maybe one of the most important things Elon said that seems to be going overlooked, been thinking about the fastest way to bring a terawatt of compute online. That's roughly equivalent to all electrical power produced in America today. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Joe Tetmeyer also shared that Tesla is hoarding transformers again, with a notable increase in 2 storage locations over the past few days. And not only that, but Joe Tetmeyer said Cortex 2.0 is confirmed. He's been researching permits for Giga-Texas, and he finally found something. Elon has recently referred to the original installation in the South Extension as Cortex 1.0 and that there would be a second one, and now we know where it's located. Here's one slide that Joe shared. You can see in the top right, we have the Gigafactory back here. So given this is the north end and the south end is way down here with Cortex 1.0, this would be in the northeast direction from the current Gigafactory. And this is looking like a pretty significant footprint. This is not just some minor extension of the factory, even though that wasn't really minor in my opinion. To get a sense of the scale, you'll see this white pickup truck right here. Elon's quote in this picture really tells us everything we need to know about where Tesla is headed when it comes to compute, not just for unsupervised and future models, but for Optimus. Remember, Elon has said Optimus might require 10x the compute as FSD. So hear me out on this. 1 terawatt of compute would be roughly 1.4 billion NVIDIA H100s. Or for another comparison, if we estimate that NVIDIA's B200 GPU consumes about 1,350 watts, then that level of compute would require about 740 million NVIDIA B200s. Even more fun, how about the cost for that over 1.4 billion order of H100s, given they each cost about $25,000? Estimated cost, over $35 trillion. And by the way, that doesn't really even factor in any overhead or infrastructure costs. I could go on, but I just wanted to make it clear, given that xAI's Colossus is aiming to have 300,000 B200s by this year, the numbers that would be required to bring 1 terawatt of compute online are frankly quite ridiculous and beyond staggering. The power requirements alone would be bonkers, and the overall cost for all of this would be larger than many countries' GDPs. So why does this matter? Well, because it tells us where Elon's head is actually at and what he's thinking about. And it's this thinking and risk-taking and belief that actually leads me to be so confident in Tesla's future. Not just because their track record of execution and all of the talent and all of the things, but because Elon is a visionary. He's one of the only people on the planet that are thinking at a scale like this. So while Wall Street is focusing on counting cars and inventory and margin rates, Elon is just focused on an entirely different universe. Now, sure, what he's talking about is probably impossible anytime in the next few years, just given technological limitations. And the last time I checked, Tesla doesn't have trillions of dollars on its balance sheet, but the takeaway here is just directionally understanding where things are headed. In short, more compute means faster FSD iterations and more robust models and faster feedback loops, and all of that will then transfer to Optimus. So yeah, I'm not planning on selling any shares anytime soon. On that note, Tesla China has completed its trademark application for the name Optimus. The trademark is now pending review. Elon confirmed all the ingredients in lithium-ion LFP batteries are low cost and extremely common. No rare elements are used at all. As Arthur shared on X, there's a new app feature. Just being near a supercharger brings up a new info box that shows time of day pricing, busy and wait times, what stalls are out of order, and a quick option to report any issues. Some of that we already had, but that's just more real-time information. Joe Tetmeyer also shared some video footage of a test car at Giga-Texas today. He said it looks like a Model Y under a cover, but missing body panels, quarter panels, and a roof. I think everybody is so eager right now to hear anything about these new affordable models. They'll make a jump where they can. Personally, I do not think it's likely that Tesla kept the wraps so tight on these more affordable models for the last few months months that we've heard and seen nothing, and then all of a sudden they're going to trot this out in the parking lot. Maybe they didn't want to let exposed batteries just sit and bake in the sun, or who knows, maybe it is a portion of one of these more affordable models. What do you guys think? Tesla stock closed the day at $318.38, up 6.75%, while the NDX was up 4.02%. The Tesla volume was 13% below the average, and now Tesla is officially back over a $1 trillion market cap. Don't forget, check out Surfshark linked below for those interested. There's so much weird stuff going on with spying and information selling. I really just think for the value, it's a no-brainer. And with my other venture, I'm gonna start a series on resistance bands and the science that led to this innovation we came up with, in addition to providing general fitness tips, especially for men ages 35 to 65, so that link is below too. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did. You can find me on X, linked below. And a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.